In this video, I want to explain what you need to do to change your tennis level once you've plateaued. So this isn't a video for beginner tennis players. This is a video for more experienced players that have gone through that period of rapid improvement and now things are slowed down and they're trying to find a way to kind of break through to the next level, which is why you're here on YouTube watching different videos about tennis. Now, what I'm not going to do is give you some specific trick or technique to do with the way that you hit your forehand, because you've most likely already watched hundreds, if not thousands of those videos, and it probably helps you improve to a certain point, but it's not helping you get past where you're at now. So what I'm going to do in this video is dive in deeper and talk about what it really takes to break through to the next tennis level. So hopefully you'll find it helpful. If you do, it'd be awesome if you could give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel before, it always really helps me out and it's much appreciated if you could do that as well. So when it comes to changing your tennis level, there's obviously no one-size-fits-all solution because everybody's different. What you need to do is going to be dependent on your starting level and then your physical ability and your mental ability. But what you basically have to do is analyze where you are now and figure out what's holding you back, because there's two different areas we can work in. We can work in on-court stuff and we can work in off-court stuff. And people have only got a limited amount of time, so we need to make sure that we're using our time as wisely as we can to help us improve as much as we possibly can. Start by recording yourself playing a match, get an honest impression to find out exactly what you're doing at the moment. And you do need to be honest with yourself. Is the problem that you've just got really poor shot selection? Too often you're just going for a big shot that you don't have the ability to execute consistently? Is the problem that you don't prepare effectively? So are you the sort of player that isn't doing a split step and you're not preparing quickly enough, so you're not preparing until the ball is bouncing on your side of the court? Are you the sort of player that gets too close to the ball? Are you the sort of player that's kind of rooted to the spot? You don't move back or move forwards to set up in the right position. If those things are going on, then you need to focus on those within your practice. And as a general thing, I see a lot of tennis players not actually doing dedicated practice. They play points, they play matches, and they think that that's going to enable them to change their tennis level. And while you do have to play points and matches sometimes, it is an important part of improving. In order to actually fix underlying technical problems, you normally have to work on specific drills. So if you don't split step, if you don't prepare and set up in the right position, you might need to play less matches and you might need to work in those in a more isolated environment in order to program them, make them become habits, so that then when you play a match, you've fixed the underlying problem and now you're able to play a much better quality of tennis because you're now set up in the right position. It might be some specific aspect of your technique that you're struggling with. Now again, as a general rule, the vast majority of players that I see are focusing on things that are a little bit too advanced. Coaches these days are talking about what the pros do and trying to copy the pros. What we've got to understand is that the pros are amazing athletes with unbelievable hand-to-eye coordination. That's what allows them to do that stuff. So for most of us to try and copy the pros, it's not realistic. So modeling some of the things that they do, yes, but what you need to do is analyze what you're currently doing at the moment and what is it that you need to work on. So maybe it's the preparation, maybe it's the spacing and positioning. I say this because it's such a common problem, or maybe it is some aspect of your technique. But if it is, you still need to structure your practice in the right way to allow yourself to get repetitions at the right level of difficulty, because that's what's required in order to develop a new habit. And it's only once you've developed a new habit that you'll then be able to do stuff in matches. So that's the first part of it, focusing on the right thing within your on-court practice time and working on addressing the real limiting factors at the moment. And then you have to do the same thing with your physical and mental abilities. You have to analyze yourself and assess yourself and work out if there's things that are holding you back. And this is where it often goes wrong for players. A lot of players focus all their spare time on playing tennis, thinking that that's what they need to do to improve. And obviously you do need to practice, and it's a big part of the process. But what you also need to understand is that you can only play at the level your body will allow you to play. Most professional tennis players spend way more time off-court working on their bodies than they do on-court working on their tennis, because the better your body works, the better you'll be able to play tennis. And this might mean different things for different people. So for you, Do you have the ability to sprint and move effectively in different directions? But because if you can't sprint safely and effectively, then that's going to limit you, because sometimes in tennis, to get to the ball, the higher level you play at, the more important speed is. If you can't run quickly and safely, that's going to prevent you playing at a level. So that might be the thing that you need to address. So you might need to spend time in the gym working on your strength and flexibility in order to achieve a certain level of movement, because that's the thing that's required to enable you to get to the next level. You might also need to do things in terms of your nutrition. This might be an unpopular thing to say, but if you're 50 pounds overweight, that is going to prevent you moving effectively around court. When you watch professional tennis players, there's a reason that they're not carrying an extra 50 pounds, because if you're trying to change direction or trying to move with speed, it's not an effective way to do things. So that might be something you need to address. It really depends on your specific situation. Another area that you might need to improve is your eye-to-hand coordination, your eye-to-foot coordination, your skill, because all techniques have a skill component. We need the physical strength and speed to be able to move and get into the right position, but you also need to read where the ball's going in order to set up in the right position. And a big part of being fast around the court is actually how quickly you can read and process visual information and make decisions. Because if you're not starting your movement until the ball's bouncing on your side of the court, you're always going to be slow to get there. So maybe what you need to do to improve your preparation, to improve your spacing, is train your vision so that you can read the flight of the ball more effectively, so then you can set up in better positions, and so then you can have better timing. Or maybe it's coordination. In order to use high-level technique, you have to have really good coordination. At the end of the day, regardless of what technique you use, it comes down to controlling the angle of the racket face at the moment of contact. If you don't have the coordination to do that past a certain point, that is going to prevent you getting your tennis level past a certain point. So maybe that's the thing that you need to work on. Whatever the thing that's holding you back is the thing that you have to prioritize your time towards working on. Now, if you would like to learn how to improve your vision and coordination, that's one of the main things that I do with tennis players. Yes, I teach them tactics. Yes, I teach them technique, but because this physical ability stuff is the limiting factor for most players, I spend most of my time teaching players how to use brain-based training to improve their skill. So if you'd like help with that, I'm holding a free live 5-day Neuro Tennis Challenge. I'll place a link to it down in the description. Completely free. You get to come and join me for 5 days, and I'm going to teach you how to use brain-based training to improve your skill and coordination. So that option is there for you if you want, but go away and analyze your technique, figure it out. What is holding you back? But be honest with yourself. It's not some tip on your forehand for the vast majority of players. It's normally things that are more fundamental than that. Then you have to prioritize your practice in the right way. And of course, you have to address any physical limitations that are preventing you from doing the thing that you're trying to do. Because hopefully it makes sense, right? That if your body isn't capable of doing something, then it doesn't matter how much you try and practice it, you won't be able to do it. And that was a situation that I was in for so many years. I grew up playing tennis, which is an advantage. I was okay, I kind of got to a certain level. I then went into tennis coaching, and I improved a little bit as my knowledge and tactical understanding improved, but I didn't improve as much as you would expect. I still got stuck at a certain point. Now, I was a good practicer. I spent time working on the right thing. I worked on my strength, I worked on my flexibility, but what I didn't understand when I was younger was the brain-based training piece of the puzzle. For me, I had issues with my visual system and with my coordination, and that was preventing me from having good timing. It wasn't until I fixed those things that I was able to actually become a good player. And that's why I teach players this stuff now, because whatever's holding you back is what's holding you back. That's the thing that you've got to work on. So go away, analyze your game, figure out what it is, and work on it. And if you want to join me at the workshop, I would love to see you there. Any questions or comments about what I've talked about in this video, leave them down below, and I'll catch you next time.